When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport, and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Thanks for getting your pod on. Thank you for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word about the pirate ship. All right, I should be leaving my phone outside the studio. I'm coming in all kinds of crazy today, and I told Danny a certain time, and then Danny was polite enough to say, "Hey, why don't we just go at this time?" And then I'm still
yeah. I've learned, like, with you and my wife, there's like when you say a certain time, you really want to budget for more time.
Yeah,
There's Bill time. With my wife, there's Boo time.
Right.
Like, we can be out of here by 5:30, which means 7 o'clock.
I was, yeah, and that's my fault. I wound up.
No, that's cool.
I was.
Yeah, an important place to be. From what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I did Brother Wease's podcast, the Wease Family Circus. It was Wease and Doreen and Jake. And me, and I'm not sure when that episode will drop, but we taped it a little before when I came here, and it was great to see him. You know, and I always worried, like, I don't know. Sometimes being a guest, right? Because you don't want to overstep on things with people and stuff, and then they asked me, was there anything off limits? And then I said no, and then at the end I said, did you have any other questions? And of course they did. And it was more Doreen, and so I talked about a situation that I've talked about here, and I think I don't know what the fallout will be. The problem with this whole thing, and what I said was, the way I look at my radio career is, I had a amazing 30-year career that was filled with some really interesting and creative and fun people. And it had highs and it had lows and it had all the things in there, but it was a great ride. And when the way I left, I don't want that to be the book. It's a chapter, but I don't want it to be the book, so to speak. You know what I mean? And And there's many opinions as to it. I haven't ever really talked a whole lot about it, only because I'm like, look, I mean, I chose what I was doing. You know, I think with like Wease, like, you know, why didn't you push harder to fight back? And I'm like, and I didn't get to say it, but I have lots of friends who are in the legal profession, and they told me that you probably weren't going to win, and no one ever wins in these, and it would take forever.
Or you could win, but it would be a Pyrrhic victory. The cost would be so great.
Well, I guess, but it was also like, I was told no one wins in these by two of people that I, like, if you were to put together your personal life board of advisors, I would put these guys on
your
there.
Dream team, like OJ's dream team. Like, you have your advisors sitting there.
Right. And so all I said, you know, on his podcast, I might have said a little bit more, but like, in the end, I go, I don't know why people get upset if I say anything about it, because the end result was that I was gone. Right? That was the end result. And part of that reason was, you know, I'll hear different things. I'll just say it here. I've been accused of having affairs with women that I didn't have affairs with. I even recently said to somebody, when that person's name came up, I said, I feel so bad because that was never
like her.
No. But I just said, I feel bad because that person.
There's someone else you'd like to have an affair with, Bill? I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
That's not the case. And I go, but you know, everybody has an opinion and they think they know and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, either way, the ultimate thing for whomever was that I no longer was there. I guess you could say paid the ultimate price. Did I in the end? I don't know. I was 51 or 52. People are going, go to Chicago, go here. Let's talk to these guys. And I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to be 52 starting over in Chicago. I don't want to do that. And I was not I was devastated. I was devastated. I think there were days I couldn't get off the out of bed. Like I just couldn't believe my world collapsed like that. But then I quickly kind of went, all right, where are you going to put your focus and what are you going to do? And let's go. You know what I mean? You can't sit around and feel, you can have a pity party for a minute.
Yes.
But then you got to go. And I wasn't going to, and my whole thing was like, why am I, and it's not, has nothing to like people go, well, you know, karma. And I'm like, we've talked about this. I say that I don't believe in karma, but I also don't believe in like just talking shit about somebody. I don't know I don't know. All I can tell you is thought I'd be there and I wasn't. And it was, you know, everybody has an opinion and they think they know, and I'm going to be sort of vague with this, but in the end, I would say, I could also see the way radio was going. And I even said this on with Wease, it's like, I still think radio is a very viable medium if you went back to local community, spoken word, you had those personalities, you had that stuff. I said, I think in those instances, and it's an interesting conversation because I don't know that he necessarily agrees with me, but I said, when we look back at like the history of what radio did, it gave a wider audience to the Memphis blues. It gave a wider audience to the Delta sound, right? The Detroit sound, all these Motown, all these sounds that were out there that people couldn't hear. They were popular in this part of the country and not others. And then somebody driving through goes, "Oh my God, I heard this. You got to get it." And like the Stones come through and they took Muddy Waters and let's
steal that stuff.
Well, I mean, look, if I have to write like a paper on a book that my buddy wrote, but I think this is like the third edition that he's done, and he's looking for some feedback, and he had us read it, and we have to write a review of the book and then a review of a specific chapter. And the chapter that I think I'm going to do is consciousness, and the idea that are our thoughts originally ours? And there are oftentimes I would argue that it's not, but we build upon each thing. And the way I see consciousness is though it's this stream of stuff that's there, right? And here's why I say that, and maybe you can even relate to this, being a musician and having a love and a passion for music, is that anytime you hear musicians talk, they'll go, "It wasn't me," right? Paul McCartney can say it was like this divine thing that came through me, or you hear somebody go, "I wrote it in 15 minutes. I don't know where it came from, but it just came to me." I don't know what they're saying there, but did they tap into a greater consciousness? Now, if that's true, then why aren't other people doing it? Well, I think each individual one of us are our own software and interpreter through that, and out comes that. But then what we do is we put it back in to the consciousness, and somebody else takes that and builds upon it, and we expand consciousness. And that is my theory on that stuff.
That and Ringo handed me the LSD and I just rolled with it.
But yeah, I get it, right? No, I get it. And I know that sounds like, kind of weird and all this stuff, but I go, hey man,
hey, look what we got. We got a song out of it. We got a few songs.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, I always jokingly have said, and I got in trouble when I had to Get the Let Out, and I once said it's the world's greatest cover band because they, like everything they took, they had to steal from somebody. And I often go, how did you put out in such a short period of time such an immense amount of work? You were young, you were driven.
Right, because as you get older, you'll find that you have fewer hits. Even the Stones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 100%. If you compare their stuff from now or like to even like the 90s stuff, it's a lot different. It's more what's more produced. They got a few great ones, but I mean, like as you get older, you produce less great hits.
Yeah.
Fewer great hits.
Right.
That's why when you do, everybody's like, "Hey, did you hear this song from like Billy Idol had a hit like 10 years ago?" Be like, wow, he's back in the top 40.
Yeah.
It's kind of a surprise.
It is, and I agree with you. I think that there's also like you're more in the moment then, right? You're hungrier. That's why I always go, like, a lot of time I always say, like, somebody else's kid is never going to do necessarily as good as them. Like, I always love the discussion of, who was better than their dad at the same thing. The only one I always comes to mind for me is Ken Griffey Jr., but everybody else it was almost as though they didn't have to have the same struggle to get there, right? Bob Dylan wrote and wrote and wrote, and Bob is another one who goes, I don't know where it came from. I have no idea, but I just wrote, and these were the things that came out. His son, Jacob Dylan, I love the Wallflowers. I thought he was super talented, but they didn't go very far.
No.
Right? They had really the one album.
They had the one album, and they couldn't follow it up.
And it has nothing to do with, like, do they suck? Do they anything? I just wonder if you just didn't grow up needing the grit. You didn't have the same, you had a passion for it, but you also got lessons.
Oh, yeah.
And Dad didn't. And Dad had to figure out how to play this instrument. And Dad had to figure out how to get the harmonica. And Dad had to write and write and write. And that's where I think that those things happen. And, you know, like when we look at Michael Jordan's kids were never as good as Michael Jordan. Yeah. Watch the what's it? The Last Dance.
Yeah.
I think
one told of his kids, I feel sorry for
them. Well, maybe it wasn't them. There was somewhere I saw an interview and they're like, yeah, I never flew a commercial flight till I was 20 or 21 years old. Okay. That's way different than anybody else. Right. But Michael didn't grow up that way.
No.
Michael grew up in a small house, tight family, brothers fighting, all this stuff. Very different. I'm not saying that these other guys are soft. It just was different. You know what I mean? It's
like the story of every success story usually comes from somebody who's on the balls of their you-know-what.
Yeah.
To have to fight. Like Queen, for example, right? Like their lead singer quit. They're a band called Smile. Freddie Mercury watches them. He goes, it's great, but you're doing it all wrong. And then he joins Queen as their singer, and like he's sleeping on the basement floor, writing songs, dreaming about, after he just lost his job, dreaming about being a star.
Right.
And they would just or Led Zeppelin, all these. Well, Led Zeppelin was kind of manufactured a little bit, but I mean, everybody. But look, to get to be Led Zeppelin, all those guys had to struggle to get there.
Well, you had Robert Plant had an amazing voice, right? Unbelievable pipes. And Jimmy Page was in the Yardbirds and other bands, and he had a lot of reps of doing it.
Yeah.
And there are songs that I think they I always call them the world's greatest cover band, which pissed one of my program directors off terribly.
When you said that on the air?
Yeah.
Okay. I can understand that.
And I was
you're right.
But I'm like, yeah, but they took it from everywhere else. And so then the idea is, well, is any thought an original thought? Probably not. But if you can tap into that, you can interpret it your way and make it uniquely yours.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's called influence.
Yeah. And so I think that there's that's just kind of my take.
You want to talk about influencers? I mean,
right.
Rock and roll is loaded with them, you know?
So, right. And so that was kind of my thing. And then as you know, with the it was just kind of where I don't even know how I got to this.
I love that. I love that. I mean, you know, I sit there and like, well, I go through these phases when I'm sitting with my guitar. Like right now I'm in a Dave Matthews Band phase. Yeah. And the reason, now I was like this as a kid. I didn't like Dave's style because
everybody says that.
Because here's the thing. So I don't need the trumpets. I don't need the cellos. Some songs they really accentuate it. Other songs they take away from it. But if you just like watch him and Tim Reynolds play as a guitar player, he'll drive you nuts because it's like he's playing with two brains. Here's what I mean by that. It is very hard to play lead guitar and sing lead at the same time. He does it, and he's a jazz guitar player. Like he's picking the notes. His fingers are moving 100 miles an hour, and he's singing. Yeah. That's why guitar players hate it, because it's almost impossible. You only really is supposed to do one or the other. He was able to do both.
And this is where, like, it's not something that he can probably even teach necessarily.
No.
It's just in him, right? It's a talent. It's a gift that he has. And I don't know Dave's kid. If Dave has kids, I don't really know.
Yeah, he has kids. Well, I mean, like, now you're seeing another crop of musicians now where, okay, we're hearing about Olivia Vedder, Violet Grohl, Bono's kid, Fresh Prince, Will Smith's kids who flamed out. Yeah. I mean, because music is another meritocracy, because either your ears like it or your ears don't. You can't just push music on people and expect them to buy it just because it's got to feel good. It's got to sound good. It's got to taste good.
Right. And I think also that I would say too, that the grit and the drive, they didn't need it. They had the mansion and the cars and the bank.
Honey, you want to go in the studio and record with Daddy?
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
And I don't mean to diminish anybody's talent. I'm just saying that that's kind of the thing. And I don't know. So that's I
like
got
the term Nepo baby has come from mostly Hollywood.
Yeah.
But sports, you can't just, unless you're LeBron James and Bronny James, you can't just nepotize your way into sports. You can't do it. You can't nepotize your way into sales.
No,
you either got it or you don't.
But it's the same thing with Bronny James. Bronny James grew up playing in against great competition, but in private leagues with personal trainers and dietitians and stuff where dad was, grinding in Ohio.
Didn't have a dad.
Right. And didn't have a dad. And so, I'm just saying, like, and that's the way it should be. Your dad should be present and you should have all that. And you should be able to give your kids more than you had. But when they're going to do what you did, sometimes it's just they can't do it because they don't have the same grit and desire to be successful or to just push this as far as I can, or I want to do this, or I want to be the best. Maybe they do, but they just haven't suffered. And I know that sounds really bad, but
no, that's true.
But I don't know any other way to say it, but they haven't necessarily had to come up from nothing to something. And there is difference in that. I really think
they're born on third base.
Yeah. And then you know what? To no fault of their own.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's a genetics lottery.
To no fault of their own. But at the same time, I would also say, like, they're never going to be broke because their mindset is of success, right? Dad had it. I'll have it. It's just not going to be the same success necessarily. And I think that that's one thing. And I think that for me with like radio, I just wanted to do it. And so I did it, and I did it for 30 years. And when it came to an end and there was a pivotal moment for me where I thought I was just going to lose everybody, and I did eventually anyway, I didn't want that. It scared me. And I decided, you know what? It's not worth it because it's never going to be the same for me, even if I get the job back. It's never going to be the same for me to walk these halls. It's never going to be the same. And I just thought, okay, okay. So what are you going to do? What is that? What does that look like? What is that going to be? And here I am. And then, the mental health counseling piece came by surprise. It's out of the oblivion, I'll call it. And that's been great. And so this is some of the stuff that gets touched on the Wease podcast.
But because you made that decision, you see, you were able to capitalize. See, that's the thing. When you get kicked, all right, like Rue McClanahan's mother told her once. She auditioned for a role. She played Blanche on the Golden Girls, and she auditioned for a role, and they told her, "You're not photogenic enough." And so she goes to her mother, starts crying. She goes, "Betty Rue, don't you know that every kick is a boost?" In other words, okay, how do you handle this?
Right.
How do you handle it? And in your situation, right? Yeah. You just put yourself in position where, like, okay, I'm going to sulk. I'm going to sulk for a day. Yeah. Or because everybody would not sulk, but
I was
but for a period, for a period. Okay. You're going to allow yourself so many minutes, so many hours to like feel bad. And then, okay, now I got to get up, and blessings and luck often favor the prepared. And if you put yourself in that position, guess what? Like 90% of life is showing up. You showed up. Hey, by the way, we got this opportunity for you. Okay.
Yeah. I was talking to my sister, and I said to her at one point, I go, I feel like the thing that I'm best at is starting over, right? That's what I'm best at, and even there, I said on the Wease show, I go, I worked with Wease. I did afternoons. He was morning. I worked for Wease when I produced his show and I was part of his show. And then I worked against Wease. I go, I don't know if we have a friendship or Stockholm syndrome, but here we are, you know what I mean? And but I've always appreciated him. And I, and he said something about the end of his career, and we talked a little bit about that. And Dorian said, we really appreciated the things you said on your podcast. And I said, well, what I would say is that, one of the great things about Wease was he was authentically Wease. And I think I told the story of being in a seminar for syndication, and he leans over and goes, "Bro, that's too much work for the Wease." And Jake goes, "He never wants to work." And I go, well, I disagree, only in that it was work to just be authentically you. There was nothing he held back. Everything was out there. It was all out there. Good, the bad, the ugly. You knew that he got blown he took a blowjob from a cross-dresser, right? Because he figured, or a dude or whatever. I mean, he told these stories. I'm not saying anything that wasn't there. So it was like, you talk about now with authenticity and what's real, that you can't get any more real. And it's somebody who's super sensitive and wears their heart on their sleeve, and everything is like sometimes misinterpreted because of that. And there's a lot of hurt feelings. and yet it all worked. And I thought, wow, that was so cool to be part of that. And when I look now, I have no, like, I go, should I be really, really angry and fuck radio and fuck them? And I'm like, I did say, I go, towards the end, I was doing stuff for Wham in the morning, Wease's show in the morning, the DeTulio Moran show, and then doing 80 stations around the country, right? I wasn't doing all 80. I would send something out, but it was extra work. And there were days, my days went to 11 o'clock. It was almost as though, okay, right? We know you can handle a lot in terms of workload. You love it. You worked it. But I was also part of the problem. They brought up all the things happening at iHeart. And I go, yeah, because they're divesting. They're looking to sell. And they're trying to pay off their debts and their shareholders and all that stuff before it becomes part of Sirius XM or whatever's next for them. And I'm like, it makes sense. But, and I don't think, like, I know he's like, well, young kids aren't listening to radio. I go, right, but they're watching podcasts. So if you gave them something engaging on the radio, even if it was through streaming, they would listen. They would find it. And I don't know. I think that you can go back to that. But I think for him, his departure was another one that didn't feel very good. And you kind of go on. But I don't know. I think, and for me, it was always like, it just, okay, that this was how it ended. Okay. Doesn't mean that I can never do anything again. Doesn't mean that whatever is being said about me is true. And I don't listen anyway. So, I just don't. People say a ton of mean shit throughout my entire career. I just, okay, I'm not going to say if I sat down and read it, it's not going to affect me. It probably would, but I don't care enough to engage in that. I have things I want to do. Let's make hay while the sun's shining. I got stuff to do. And that was kind of my whole thing with this. That's how it all came about, Danny.
And we're still here 4 years.
Yeah.
Plus
we are, and going strong. And on that note, I will we'll take a moment and we'll come back. Remember last time you were in, I played the song. I got to find the song, but it was didn't I played for you the divorcee?
Yes.
Instagram divorcee, right? And somebody talked to me about that song, and then I see an article today. And I will bring it up, and I have a problem with it, and we'll get into that.
All right.
Right after this. Oh, you know what? I meant to look for the song. I don't remember if I have that or not. Let's see. I found it. There it is. That was it right there.
Was this like a Black Sabbath Nirvana?
Yeah, a little bit like a grunge tribute there.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, we'll bump them back with that. This was the song, and only because I've noticed this a lot, and I brought it up on a past podcast, and I called them Instagram divorcees, and all of a sudden it's like women, they get the red light therapy, they get a trainer, they get this, and they're feeling good about themselves, and it's the selfie. And my favorite thing is to look at the comments and see what guy I know who's married is going, hey, looking good, and they're not saying it like that. They're probably saying, hey, you look wonderful, but it just comes off to me as like, I hear it in that dumb guy voice, hey. It's like a cat call at a construction site. And maybe it's not fair, but this was the song, and somebody said to me, oh my God, that is so spot on. And I loved it. And I want to learn to sing this style. I got to do it. I need a big band, and I want to go out and sing.
Well, hello there, Mrs. Sunday Scroll. You got that glow that polished control, a little midriff,
so
a little more grin, them ripped up jeans and those hips coming. You've been counting bites, you've been counting reps, counting spa days and the steps you've kept. The mirror says, darling, you've done all right, and every little post is a velvet invite. Oh, you know what you do and you know what it shows. The whole room leans in when your camera.
So I see an article, and it might have been a USA Today article, but I see it online, and it's about the divorce glow up, a new TikTok trend, a divorce glow up. And I don't know. What do you think of that? What do you think of divorce glow up? It's like, all of a sudden she went from, I don't know, to.
Yeah, it used to be called a makeover, right?
Well, yeah, but now this is a complete, it almost looks like a different person, right? Mm-hmm. You present differently. And when you feel better about yourself, your confidence is up and all that stuff. So this article.
Do women have midlife crises?
I don't know.
They always talk about with guys.
Yes, I don't know. I can't necessarily. I don't know. I haven't been around.
Wearing the juicy couture pants.
Right. I mean, but the part of the article that bothered me was I go, wow, this whole narrative to me kind of strips, and I think it does it unintentionally, people of their own agency in a sense, because what they're talking about is all the things that this song was about, right? All the things that when I was thinking about it. And these women are talking about, like, all of a sudden they're on TikTok and it's like, this is what a divorce does for you, and her mental health is better, and all that. And I can understand divorce itself isn't magical. It's not. It's a really horrible, stressful thing. And it really is if you have kids. But many women also change jobs, right? Because now maybe they're a little more independent, and maybe they decide to exercise and improve their nutrition and possibly begin therapy or something after divorce. And some women don't experience a glow up because they haven't addressed some of the underlying shit.
Yeah,
is my thing. And maybe it's one of these things that started out as I'll show you, right?
Yes.
But I don't know, man. As I read this and I went back through and I stopped reading like probably 3/4 of the way through the article, and I'm like, I don't know, because it was like once he was gone, she finally became herself, and I go, oh man. That's like a really.
So you weren't yourself when you chose to marry this gentleman.
Okay, and I can understand to a certain degree what they mean by that.
I understand that.
But my part is nobody was stopping you from investing in yourself before,
right? Except
you, right? But we put these things on other people.
Yeah.
And
not my fault.
Well, right, but
that's classic narcissism.
And I'm not victim blaming. Mm-hmm. I'm not. I'm trying to empower. You always had the ability to exercise. You always had the ability to find a therapist if you wanted to, develop friendships, go for a better career, pursue your interests, say no to things you don't like. And I think the biggest problem, and what I would take from the article, is like, you're people pleasing. And I think a lot of people do that. And a lot of times we find somebody that reminds us of what we're familiar with, how our home life was, our parents were, our family was, how they treated us, all that stuff. And you start to say, Dad won't let me. Mom says no, I can't. And it's almost like you're always asking for permission. And I go, God, it's not what did the marriage do to this person. And you can say it for guys as well, who shit on their wife, but what role did you choose to play in that marriage? Were you the people pleaser? Were you the person who decided that I'm just overworked and stressed? And you know what, when you're worried about everything all the time, it's stressful on your nervous system, period, at all. You're exhausted. You don't feel like going to the gym. You're fucking tired. It's one more thing. It's a kid thing. It's he wants dinner. It's right. It's all external shit.
Yes.
And that's where, like, I mean, even on the podcast with Wease, I brought up the story. There was when his son, who's maybe almost 30 now, Sammy was left on a school bus, fell asleep, whatever. School, they get a call from school. They can't find Wease. They call. Somebody found Sammy. The bus driver went home for lunch, parked the bus on the side of the road. Sammy somehow opened the door, got out at 5 years old, and is walking along the road. And somebody finds him. And the funny part of this is,
I think that's how Bad Company started, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the supergroup. And so, like, in that moment, Wease was at Midtown with Doreen, and they're working out together. And the police have called me. They put him through to me. And I go, oh, I think he's at Midtown. And they go, okay, we'll handle it. So they call over to Midtown, and Wease leaves the exercise class, but never tells Doreen, and comes back and finishes the exercise class. And I really, I totally agree with, but this is where, like, being your authentic self versus, right? Mm-hmm. Or let me put it this way, the caretaker. I'm not going to say that there weren't men, because even Jake goes, I would be out of my mind worried about my kid and all. And Wease is like, yeah, I asked the cops, how is he? And they go, he's fine. They go, all right. He goes, all right, will you do me a favor? Bring him to school. And so they brought him to school. And then after the class, Doreen's like, why'd you leave? And he goes, oh, yeah, Sammy got left in the bus. And she fucking flips the fuck out. You know what I mean? And she's running. And I get it, because to me, it was always like, I don't want to make a big deal out of things with the kids when it's not a big deal, right? Because, oh, my God, that had to be so traumatic. And I get it. It is. And you can see it as an adult. How fucking scary, how whatever. But it ended. The kid was fine. He was in a good mood. He didn't know any different. So why am I going to all of a sudden turn this into a traumatic event? That's exactly how Wease is thinking. Right. So, but she's the caretaker. So her nerves are on fucking fire all the time, because you got somebody says she's not, you know what I mean? She's not agreeing with necessarily
the mom and the dad in her mind.
Right. And you're the emotional manager. You're the peacemaker. But eventually you forget that there's an actual person inside who you are. And underneath all those job descriptions, they're not necessarily you. They're an extension of you.
Yes. And you're just wearing hats.
Right. So the glow up, to me, it may not be freedom from the spouse. It may be freedom from an identity that you built.
Right.
Right. And so I go,
we all deserve the life we negotiate or tolerate.
Well, okay. So,
and the responsibility is ours.
I can't say, and I'm sure there are women going, fuck you, Bill Moran.
Of course.
Bullshit. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I watched Oprah. I never heard of this.
My husband was so controlling, and he did this and he did that, and I couldn't go anywhere, and blah, blah, blah. But I go, confidence, a lot of times, it didn't come from your divorce. That's not where all of a sudden this confidence comes from. It comes from finally keeping a promise to yourself and showing up for yourself. And when people say self-care, I mean, you brought it up recently on the podcast. I think it's been brought up several times. When a plane's going down, put your mask on first, right, and then on your children.
Then on the kids.
Right. Why? Because when you're okay,
they'll be okay.
Well, it's not that they'll be
take care of them.
You can give more of yourself if you're not taking care of yourself, right? So now all of a sudden you're going to start sleeping and lifting weights and eating better and saying no to certain things, and you're leaving toxic conversations that bring you down, and you're actually investing in yourself. Maybe you're I don't know. So I always go, if your marriage had magically become healthy tomorrow, would you still have started going to the gym? Would you? I don't know. If the answer is no, maybe the marriage wasn't the entire problem. Right. And those are things like I go, so maybe you were waiting in some way for permission, and the only one that's going to really grant you permission is you. And I know people I've said things on the podcast where I don't, you really can't assert on somebody else, and no one can really assert on you, but we sure live that way. You know, we sure live that way. And so as I'm reading this, I go, man, you know, flip that script a little bit. Flip it to what's the one thing you blame your relationship for that actually might be your responsibility.
Yeah, because if you really think about it, your marriage is an echo chamber that goes back and forth. You think you're looking at a mirror, and then what really is happening is now they're reacting to your reaction, so then you react to their reaction, and the endless cycle continues. And then some people, well, I got kids, I can't really fix this. I got to focus on the kids right now. 20 years goes by, and you end up like Alan Tipper Gore. Well, we should have been married in the first place.
Right.
Well, you got married for the right reasons, but you lost each other based on whatever took place over those 20 years.
But the roles you stepped into
yes.
that you didn't like,
Mm-hmm.
that you felt held you down and wouldn't allow you to be yourself. And, you'll often hear people say, I lost myself. Or maybe you didn't lose yourself. You slowly negotiated yourself away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like, I'm the caretaker and I don't have time for that. And I got to do this and I got to do that. And, all of a sudden one compromise and one apology becomes a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And one, it's easier this way. It's easier not to rock the boat. Hey, look, I know in my life, throughout my life, easier not to rock the boat. Right?
Yes.
Might as well just, it's one of the great
spots.
Well, it's one of the great tropes of married guy comedy. Yeah. Whatever she says, I go. I've got it. And it's like one people-pleasing decision at a time. You've just negotiated yourself away. And that's where I go, I don't know. Someone took me away from myself, okay, or I stopped showing up for myself. I stopped setting boundaries and doing that. And maybe you had a lot of fun. You liked being with the person, and you never really knew who you were at all. Well, that's not their fault. That's your own.
Right.
And when you find that out, look.
Or you set up expectations that you didn't realize couldn't be met.
Yeah.
I know that happened in my first marriage.
Yeah.
On both of us.
Sure. Yeah. And it makes sense, right? It makes sense. But I always go, is it really like not always go, but I'm reading this and I think in my head, is it really a divorce glow up, or just the first time someone made themselves a full-time job? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it matters to me to feel good, to look good, to be as present as possible. I've heard women that would be in this song, the subject, the muses for these songs.
Oh, I can think of like 10 right now off the top of my head.
Yeah. Hey, look, if you're listening to the glow up trend on TikTok, apparently divorce is better than moisturizer, ladies. You might as well try it. I don't know. But that's my point. It's not the case. You stopped showing up for you, made excuses for it, decided you were tired, you were this, you're the one carrying the kid, you had the baby, you're not getting the support you need because you don't want to ask for the support you need from your husband or whomever or your partner. And so everything just kind of spirals out. It's a very human thing. And
I remember growing up, my father was very observant. See, my family, like we have a big Italian family, and he would see, because he lived it too, he could see patterns coming down the road of what was going to happen in a certain marriage if somebody didn't straighten out themselves or the other person didn't straighten out. He says, Danny, mark my words. And with 100% accuracy, he could determine what was going to happen because he lived it, for one thing.
Right.
And second thing, like he was observant of the people in the family. Like his generation of boomers watched their fathers basically come home from work, dinner was on the table, and they ran the show. And nobody's going to tell them otherwise. Then the women's lib movement started, and women started feeling more secure in themselves, started doing more things. And all this, I'm not blaming it on that. I'm saying they started getting more influence to look out for themselves. And then all of a sudden they realized, no, you're not going to, this is not going to happen. This is not going to be the way this is.
Right.
And nobody knew how to handle it.
No. And, but I think like there was a defined role. I don't think women probably were very happy with their defined role of having dinner on the table by a certain time. And
even the magazine articles, 10 ways to make your husband happy. Have his favorite cigar ready to go. Have a scotch for him ready to go.
Right.
Have dinner ready for him.
That was all the
Massage his calves with evaporated milk. And you see the happy wife in the skirt and the pearls.
But exactly.
I love my life.
Right. And why did the Rolling Stones have a song called Mother's Little Helper?
Right, exactly.
Because mom needed an escape, because that isn't how anybody should live. But that was the world. No one wanted to listen to you, honey. Hey, whatever. Blah, blah. But
things are different today. And I hear every mother say.
Yes. And I think that the other side of that is women's lib, great, pushed you forward, showed the value to society outside the home and all that stuff. But now we're in 2026. And I go,
the ladies can do stuff now.
Well, right. But I mean, I get it. Like stress adds cortisol. But if you read this article, apparently you'll find the cortisol next to the wedding photos. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what you do. And I'm like, wow, I really feel like this whole article takes the person out of it and says it wasn't. But yet you did all this work,
right?
And you did all this stuff. Did you do it to just go get laid again? Did you do it to get revenge on somebody? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Because if you're not enough with it, you'll never be enough without it. And you can flip that. If you're not enough with it, you'll never be enough without it. You'll never be enough with it.
But I mean, the other thing is, like, I know somebody who told me once that their ex said to them, why does everybody else now get the hot version of you and I got the other version of you? And it kind of makes you laugh, and you can see where someone would be upset. Like, I didn't want this divorce, and now all of a sudden this and blah, blah. Well, yeah, you got an opportunity to put yourself first. You put your priorities first. Could you have tried to make it work with that person? Maybe it was so bad maybe you couldn't see your way out of it. But a lot of times it comes more from the shit you carried in. Right. I mean, there's wonderful books and things you can read about it. But how many people are doing that thing where you're trying to read the room and placate to somebody, and I don't want to upset them, and I don't like controversy. I could never handle it as a kid, and I didn't know how to do these things. And, dad could be in a mood, so we're trying to tiptoe around and walk this way. And so you never learn to handle anything that's controversial or speak up for yourself or feel valued in any way. So you find somebody that treats you that way. And then you go, what the fuck am I doing? And it usually happens after a parent dies for a lot of people, because they go, what the fuck am I doing? And they change and they go, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And it's sad because there's a whole dissolve of things. And I agree with, like, your dad. I mean, my father used to say to me too, he goes, you want to see couples that are getting along at a party, they are together, they talk to each other. Maybe the guy goes off and talks to guys, but they come back, they check in with each other. The couples that just stay apart the entire time, right? I've always looked at that stuff too, and I thought, I can see. I don't know.
Well, we know a guy. I don't want to know it, but we know a guy who will go out to get pizza for the family for dinner and be gone for 3 hours.
Yeah,
and he did this routinely.
Yeah, I know.
I have a family member, and I love him, who would literally go to the movies with a buddy of his.
No, look, dude.
And the wife and kids are at home.
I still to this day know guys that will say they just need some time, right? But they have no way. They don't. And this is why, if I stay the therapy track, I want to work with dudes. I know it's weird, but I think you're never taught how to, like, really communicate, right? So, like, this guy I know is a fucking amazing guy. Really like this guy. But there are times where he's like, I can't. I gotta, he wants to chill out, be alone, sit quietly at a bar, or come and laugh, have a couple of drinks, and then we'll say, I went to the movies. And then the next day she had something going on, so he would go to the movie. So when he's asked about the movie, he could actually see the movie. And I'm like, but that just is too much work. Why not rearrange that and say, hey, sometimes I just need, and it's nothing against you, and it means nothing. I'm not out flirting with other women. I'm not doing anything. I just need some time to decompress, and I can't have whatever. And I go,
gotta take
you know what I mean? And I know it sounds
a little time to think.
I really hope people are hearing what I'm saying. I think if you had a glow up, fucking awesome for you. I think that's great. You may be at your healthiest now, and God, that's awesome. Really, truly awesome. And I hope you're great for everybody in your life. Whoever, if there's a new person, but your kids, if you have them, your job, if a boss, I hope you're getting the promotion you wanted. I hope you feel great about yourself. You put yourself first, and you did a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work to work out. Try it. Try it for a while. I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying anybody. Go to the gym all the time, right? It's not easy to have that discipline. There are days you don't want to, right? But you like feeling good. It makes you this, and it becomes part of your routine then. And we need that. I really think people need that structure. But I go, healthy relationships shouldn't require you to disappear. They just shouldn't. And everybody has probably at some point, dude, I'm guilty of all of this. I disappeared, right? I used to go, I would run a mile, not run, but I would drive down to pick something up for the kids or whatever, buy myself the pound of M&Ms, and I would fucking inhale the entire pound bag. By the time I got back home, which was not really even a mile away, and I would be on a fucking sugar high, and then I would crash, and I would go to bed. Well, what does that do for my wife who's trying to put the kids to bed, and you could have made great memories and done those things? What does that say? What does it say about me, right? And that's the part that I'm saying. But unhealthy relationships, they don't erase your ability to choose yourself either.
No, they hide.
Right.
It's all hiding.
Right.
It's what it is.
And I think that, and this is the thing that I think is so lost on humanity, and it's really hard to teach people because we come into this world and we're told we have to stand in line and we have to listen and we can't talk and we have to shut up and we got to play by these rules and this is the thing and all that stuff. And we wind up getting our approval outside of ourselves. And once you stop outsourcing your happiness, that's when the glow up happens.
Yes.
That's when
it'll happen naturally. You won't have to work at it. It'll be fun. It'll be you. You're doing your own thing.
Right.
It's not like, okay, today I have to I gotta work out.
So
then I have to
then
I have to.
But it's to your spouse, your job, or anyone else, and stop outsourcing it.
The better off I become for myself, the better off everybody else around me will be.
And you start investing in becoming the person you wanted to be all along, or maybe even better. Maybe you didn't even see this version of yourself, but even better. And I would say, remember, put the mask on yourself first. That's the right. Put the mask on yourself first. And so this article to me was like, yeah, we're gonna shit on marriage, right? And I can understand there are things with it, and we're gonna shit on, but the glow up is great. Highlight yourself, fucking brag. Goddamn, that brag. Feel free, or damn. I'm sorry. But but
gosh darn it all.
But brag about it. Feel good about it. You did a lot of work, and man, that feels good. And that's a real accomplishment. That's what I talk about when I say real self-esteem. When you go from 200 pounds to 110 and you fit in clothes you never thought you'd fit in, and people are telling you how great you look and you're getting a lot of attention, you can also then choose what attention you want and what attention you don't want.
Yeah, you can start using the word creep.
I don't know. The article bugged the crap out of me because I felt like it just took away the humanity of it, like, the agency, your own agency for yourself.
Do you remember in Dumb and Dumber where Harry and Lloyd walk into that diner with Seabass and all those guys in it?
Yeah.
And they walk up to the waitress at the counter. Her name is Flo, of course. She's reading a book. Do you remember what the title of the book was?
I do not.
Of course you're angry.
Yeah. Yeah. But why not?
Right.
Because, but here's the other thing is you're told not to be angry.
Right.
Right. I'm not a woman. I wasn't told, shut up. And no one wants to hear your thoughts. Ladies are quiet and prim and proper. And we don't speak up and we don't say these things and we dress the proper way. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'd be fucking angry too, but I didn't have that being told to me. So I'm not trying to diminish that. What I'm saying is we're now so far into society. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Fucking, be okay to say, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's painful, but it's better than having all this.
And I think this article is like, it's easier to write, I want to say victim.
Well, it's a trend. It's a trend thing that they're seeing on TikTok. You know what I mean? And I go, okay,
but it's pandering. It's pandering.
I feel like
I hate that. I hate people who pander. Don't pander.
Yeah.
Because you're not helping anybody. You're crippling them, but that's what they want.
Right.
You need to come back to me for help.
Right. Right. And that
Mel Robbins, man, she's got it going on. You wait 5 years and Mel Robbins will probably be forgotten, or something will happen where Mel Robbins actually, you know, I mean, because you know, that's how it happens.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't want to say anything. I think Mel Robbins brings a lot of value, and I think that Mel is trying to lead people to this. Put yourself first, take care of yourself, do that sort of thing. I think I'm
just using that as an example.
No. It's a great example because we've seen many of these people who become someone's
guru.
Yeah, I was just going to say
that's why Tony Robbins hates when people call him a guru,
quote unquote guru. But I think when your daily hobby becomes managing another adult, right? That's when we've got a problem.
Yeah.
But if that's what you like to do, and that is who you feel like you're the caretaker, and it makes and you feel good about that, and that feeds
you feel like that's your call,
that feeds you, then fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Well, that's how Tony Robbins got into what he does.
Yeah,
he got addicted to helping people.
Yeah,
he just kept helping people,
right?
And then he loved it.
Sure,
and he just made a business out of it.
I get it, and I can totally understand that. I just don't like where all of a sudden it takes the agency out of it. Like, well, it was the marriage. Maybe it was, but what role did you play in that? Right. What did you do? Take a really good look at that, because sometimes those patterns repeat. You can find another one.
Oh, yeah.
And how many people have been married and divorced and married?
Oh, I know somebody who's been married 3 times now.
Yeah, and it's usually
in 12 years.
And I'll tell you this, it's usually not women. Women seem to, honestly, ladies, you put up with a lot more shit than maybe you have to. But you do it because maybe you're really in love, or you see that this isn't what he's really mad at, it's something else or whatever. I don't know, but I was like, I'd rather be like, hey man, look at all the shit you did, and I'm glad you feel good about yourself. Now go out there and fucking be the best you can be for the rest of your time on this planet. And you're, you know, it's not going to always be a smooth road. Every road has some potholes.
Yeah,
but good for you. And instead, it's kind of like, you know, once I dumped that fucking dickhead, yeah, you know.
Is that what it was?
And I even say the other way.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I jumped that sea bag. Okay. But was it really?
I had 140 pounds removed.
Do I remember that when somebody comes walking in and goes, hey, and they're dancing around, they go, hey.
You know something different about me?
Yeah. Do I look any better? Do I look good? What's going on? I just had surgery. What? I had a 160-pound cunt removed from my back. And I was like, oh my God. Right. And I get it.
Well, I remember that same dude made a joke. We had a doctor on who did surgery on Ted Turner, and he goes, "Hey, I heard you did the surgery for Ted Turner where you had Jane Fonda removed from his back." And the guy couldn't stop laughing. I had to pot him down because he wouldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, because it was so funny, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that. It's very funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I want to say what was recently said to me, and I can't say anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not into a microphone. I will tell you off air. I probably already did tell you.
Okay.
But it's just that clever and funny. And yet at the same time, you go, what was it? What role did you choose to play? Why did you do that? Was that a role you've played all your life and you always fucking hated it, but you never had the guts to stand up and say, I don't like this. I don't like when I'm talked to this way. I don't like the way I'm treated. And you eat it. And I do think that women probably in society have been told, shh, honey, it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Right? Instead of, no, you should not have to put up with that. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know? All right. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. We'll take a moment. Be right back. Oh God, Danny made me laugh. So I didn't mean to laugh that hard.
That's all right.
I told Danny.
I just got some breaking news from from March. I am not good at keeping records of things. When you get off Facebook,
it's.
I just found out Stone Temple Pilots are playing a show tonight in Syracuse.
Yeah, I thought you knew, and I thought I had told you this story already before.
No, well,
But
Yeah, that's too bad.
It was funny.
Again, self-care.
It is weird now, right? How we get like personal news with stuff. How many times when Facebook was first started with the public, like anybody, right? Anybody can be on Facebook. I think it started with college kids. And
it started. It's just a college thing, right?
Yeah, but once it became to the masses, people would get pissed off because pregnancy was a big deal, and a lot of people don't want to say anything until it's a couple weeks, right?
Or a few months now, I think, right?
Or whatever it is, yep. And someone would slip it out or in some vague way go, I got news, and people will get mad at each other.
Yeah, vague booking, yeah.
And I totally understand that because it's not theirs to say anything.
We haven't told Grandma you're knocked up yet.
Or,
to find out from Ruthie over at the supermarket.
Somebody writes on your page, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Oh, yeah.
You thought your mom was great. And everybody's like, what the fuck?
Dude, how about,
right?
okay.
And you haven't been able to post the obituary. I didn't go near Facebook at all when my dad passed. I don't think I really posted anything until I came back for the podcast, and I was like, I played the song that will always make, and I don't know exactly why, but Jim Croce's I Got a Name, just like my daddy did, and I carry it with me wherever I go. I will always remind me of my dad, but I think I played that clip and talked about it on the podcast, and that clip went out. But I think the only thing, like, my sister wrote the obituary, maybe I shared that, but after the post was made, I didn't do anything. I don't know why. I think those things that are deeply personal like that,
yeah.
You're almost numb.
When my sister died, I didn't share it.
Yeah.
The people who needed to know, who were part of my life at that point, knew. I told them at the right time. You know, like our friend Tommy, I didn't tell Tommy until I went and met with him later that year. I said, I just want you to know this in case it comes up, because I also have a sister who lives in town, and I don't want you to think the wrong sister. Passed, you know. But on top of that, here's what I want to explain that to. And the other thing too is not during the pandemic, a little after the pandemic, a friend of mine who I went to church with, Christian guy, passed away. And I hate when Christians do this. Other people I can kind of forgive it, but Christians should know better. And somebody puts on Facebook, we lost a great man today. And then everybody else starts chiming in. Yeah, and all the work he did in the Dominican Republic and all his missionary work. And then somebody else writes, yeah, and then he always used to have lunches with me. I'm like, this guy's starting to sound familiar. Oh my gosh, I think I know who this is.
Yeah.
And then I get a phone call from a buddy.
Okay.
Hey, did you know so-and-so? I'm like, what do you mean, did I know so-and-so? He goes, yeah, he passed away today. I go, I was wondering who somebody was vague booking about today.
Wow.
And I had a pretty good idea, but it's like, come on, man, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah. I look, the thing is, like, when a tragedy hits, people get, your emotions are on
but they
fire.
know enough not to mention the name, but they want to put it out there anyway.
Yeah, because you're looking for
support.
Attention. Well,
yeah, you want support, but like, okay, you have family.
Support, Dan.
Don't go to the internet.
Or support,
go to people. Go to the guy next to you. Go to your wife. Go to your girlfriend. Go to your father, your mother, your cousin, your friends.
Yeah, but they may not go to the internet. But they may not know the person as well. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, this person knew him real well.
No. What I'm saying is, your spouse, anybody who you may lean on may not know them. So the people you want to lean on are the ones that actually do know this person.
But there were people who were close to him that didn't know, and then all of a sudden started calling the guy's wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it became a mess.
Well,
and I'm like, how irresponsible is that? No, it's got to be about me.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
I think that's happened throughout time with people.
Like when Big Daddy, our friend Big Daddy Dave Beck died, I actually posted on Facebook that, hey man, I love this guy. He was awesome to work with, and he was a funny guy. I didn't know he was funny, but and then people started sending me condolences, and I'm like, okay, I'm never doing this again, because it wasn't about. I was like just trying to pay homage to the dude, and instead it came back as a sympathy play, and I wasn't trying to do that.
People aren't trying to, but they're just being nice.
Yeah, no, they are, and they weren't trying to be. Nice. They were being nice, but I'm like, I don't ever want it to come off like that.
I don't know. I can't, when someone dies, tell somebody how to be. I can't. I get it. I'm not.
Oh, I can.
I'm not gonna do it myself. I'm not gonna tell you.
Death Rules by Dan Borello.
Yeah, but all right, okay, all right. Well, hang on a second. We'll go to your death rules, but I'm asking, like, for me, it's like, I am never going to tell someone how to be an adult. I'm just not. You're going to be
this podcast last segment. I think we kind of did.
No, I mean maybe. All right, okay, all right. Fair point.
You're getting into mental health counseling, Billy.
No,
that's kind of adult coaching.
Yeah, okay, but it's about like helping you find your way out. So like, I'm never going to go to somebody and go, oh, fuck, why did you do that? Unless it's my kid, I may go, what are you doing? But if someone's posting something, I may say, yeah, his wife was really upset, or he was really upset because he hadn't told anybody his wife had passed suddenly or whatever. You guys should have kept your mouth shut. I might do that, but I'm not going to say don't have your feelings and feel lost in that moment. You guys were, I don't fucking know. I don't know. But yes, I think, well, what I'm saying here is like, I just feel like that article strips people of their agency. I think it just makes you like, you were so dependent on this other thing. And once you got free of this albatross, that was it. And by the way, while the article is about women, there are men as well, right? There's men as well. I mean, you can go on, you can go on social media and you'll see the guy who's, overweight, saggy titties, and all of a sudden he's turned into a fucking model. By the time he's done, he's George Clooney walking out of a locker room with, better clothes and all this stuff. And I go, is that because of the divorce, or did it push you to go, oh, fuck, I need to get my shit together. And so now I got my shit together. And then, I don't know, we can blame it. Oh, she kept me down. You have no idea what I went through. And I will say, I know people, maybe even myself, have said things like that. Bad move, dude. Bad move. Because that just shows how fucking weak I am, or you are, or whoever.
Just keep it professional. Man.
Right. But it is weird, even in today's day and age. I didn't realize you didn't know that guy had passed.
Yeah. That's twice now you've broken news to me off air about people I knew who passed away.
Who's the other one?
Guy that I used to work with. You didn't really work with him, but I did. He was a PR guy. He was also a promotions director at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I sent him. I told you we were talking. I forgot how the conversation came up. You're like,
Horace?
No. He had worked with somebody who's friends with your wife. He worked for somebody who was friends with your ex-wife.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, he died. Like, what? I go, I just texted him last week. He didn't respond. No wonder.
Oh, God.
So I reached out to the guy's husband.
Why do I find that so funny? Why is that? Like, I am so shodden for it. I just find the human experience to be absolutely fucking delightful.
Because you're a thinker.
I don't know that I'm a thinker. I feel it as well. I mean,
life is a comedy to those who think, and it's a tragedy to those who feel.
All right.
Try to be a thinker, because your life will be a lot better. Like, if you lower the expectations and just laugh at yourself, laugh at everything else, life won't be easier, but it'll be more fun.
I'll tell you, like, my philosophy has often been, I don't care how it goes, I'll have a really great story about it, right?
Yeah.
And I how many times have I come here and go, oh, God, guys, even the podcast, radio. I mean,
yeah.
Right. And then at the same time, I think there's another part of me that always in my head will go, I don't know if I should say this. I always think there's nothing really serious going on here. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not a great way to think, but there's a book my mom got me, and I just reordered a new one because I hadn't been doing it for a little while. And I've been finding that those are the things that actually make me feel better when I get up in the morning, and it's called the 5-Minute Journal. And you don't need the 5-Minute Journal to do this. You do not need to spend $32 on a 5-minute journal. You don't have to. You can get a piece of paper and a notebook, or in your own head, or on your phone, and write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Mm-hmm. Simple things, just simple stuff. And then this one always has you write a motto, or your motto. And mine is, and it truly is, everything is always working out for me. And even in all situations, only good things happen. Right. And I know that sounds hokey, and it's like this magic potion with your abracadabra. No, I just think like that's kind of how I lived. But was it how I always lived? Fuck no. I was always like, the sky's falling, Chicken Little. You wouldn't believe what happened with the kid. But there was also a very comedic element to all of it for me. Like, it was just funny. And there were times where I I think there's a real thin line in true life between tragedy and comedy. And I grew up in a world of people who I don't know if it was because, the British took all the food and then the only thing left was the shitty potatoes that no one could eat because there was a famine.
Yeah, and
right?
then McDonald's was born.
Yeah,
with the greatest fries ever.
But all those people
blessings?
had to come here.
Yeah,
right. And they had a sense of humor and they were funny and they laughed at things in life and they did stuff like that. And I love to laugh. I don't know what it is.
The Irish and the Jews were like great with just laughter and comedy and seeing like the lightheartedness.
I guess. I mean, yes. And there's a lot of really, really funny Jewish comedians, right?
Yeah.
I don't know as many funny Irish. Well, I guess you could say Bill Burr and you could say Conan O'Brien. And I'm sure there's others I'm not even thinking of. There was a very internationally famous Irish comedian. But my only point was like, I just love to laugh. And the thing is like, feeling down and feeling shitty, yeah, we're gonna feel it, and it's part of it, and it's part of this ride. It's the highs, the lows, like our Bill Hicks piece said. But I always go, man, if you can't really laugh at it all, you gotta just let the fucking shit go.
Yep.
There is believe me, and I know this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but there is comedy in everything. It's there. And sometimes you need somebody to point out the absurdity of it all. Even in my exit from radio, I can find some fucking fabulous comedy that I will never really say, but I do it. I can tell you that I walk around in my world and I see things that are so funny to me. And I see people who take it way too seriously.
Right.
And I love them for taking it seriously. I love that they care that much, but I'm like,
you're laughing about it too.
Well, I'm also going, what the fuck?
Right.
I mean, like little things. I remember once I said something to somebody. They were playing a little game, like, guess what's in my kid's backpack pocket or whatever. And I say, boy or girl, and they get like stone-faced. Why would that even matter? And okay. And so
verbal eye roll there.
No. But no, that's fine. And I get it. I was like, okay, I know the world we live in now. I'm simply saying, here's my experience. Here's my lived experience. I had 3 boys. Nobody gravitated towards the doll. There was one there. I think one of them for a minute was trying to be nice to the doll and then dropped it on its head and probably punted it down the stairs. And that was the end of it, right? But they loved the trucks and they loved the trains and they love I didn't say you gotta love trucks, you gotta love trains, you gotta love fights. I didn't do that.
We're a car family in this house, not a doll family.
I did not, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. And so when this person said it, they backed off immediately and said, I'm sorry, you don't know me that well. And I went, oh, no, that's fine. But I found such joy in my soul that this was going to fucking ruin your day. Like, you see how sick that is?
Yes.
Like, there's a sickness in me because I go, oh my God, this person, it's going to ruin their fucking day in a way. Or let me rephrase that. Something along those lines could ruin that person's day. They would be so mad about it and so upset and feel so offended. And I'm like, why? There was no malice behind it. I made sure after the words left my mouth, I didn't. And I even said, hey, I only had boys and every one of them loved those things. They gravitated towards it. There were options. That's just the way they went. I'm not saying that, there's anything wrong with anything. And I did not pursue it where some people go, I just want to know, I was not trying to offend you. That's you stuck in the fucking drama. I'm here to just go, okay, move on. Yep. Next, right? And I didn't even care. And I think the person came to me later and said something like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I haven't thought about it again. Maybe that's a bad thing, but I didn't until now, right? Or I'll see the person. If I see the person and I see them doing something along those lines, I'm like, what is it like to be in that head where everything is like this fucking fight all the time? You're always punching instead of, hey, this is where I stand and that's it. Or I don't like those jokes. Okay, move on. I don't know. It's the world I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. It's just the world I live
it's
in.
Like, you know, you and I came from like the 80s and 90s. And, you know, at that time, you knew there's people's sexuality, right?
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, or they said, well, I'm ambiguous. What it's supposed to mean is that, well, I don't have to tell you what I am.
Right.
But what it really was telling you was, yeah, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And so we would always be curious, are they gay or this gay? Like personally and like, famously, right?
Sure.
And why does that matter? I go, yeah, why does it matter? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like there's a few people right now in our lives, like, you know, like removed. I'm like, are they gay? I mean, I don't care. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I just want to, because we're all curious human beings. But why are you like, why does that matter? Well, okay.
Well, because it's offensive, and then people have
you people got a whole month.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, so
I will say this.
I'm saying is like, so now it matters when I ask. That's my whole point.
Yeah, but I think
I just want to know out of curiosity.
No. I think that's okay. I don't know how. Again, there's another one, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. I told this story when I had Aggie Dune in, and we talked about pride, and I really, really like that conversation. And I would encourage people to please, because Pride Month in Rochester is after June. Because they want to. Everybody has their parade, so they're trying to open it up to the. I think it's now referred to as the queer community to come down. I love this conversation with Aggie, but I found great humor in things. So I knew that my grandmother was super, you know this story, right? I got to finish it now. She was super uptight about gay. Gay was like, oh my God, like you were an abomination. You were a sinner. You weren't going.
Yeah.
Right. And the AIDS is, I mean, that's what they get. Okay. So yeah, I know that's there. And I know that very Irish. My grandfather is a first generation here. Fireman, only had a 6th grade education, pushed for my mom, got her to college, got her through it. When, he always marched in the St. Patrick's Day parade, blah, blah, blah. We're sitting in my mother's house. My mom has a little TV at the time that's underneath the cabinet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm older. I think I had kids. And I'm sitting there, it's just me and my grandmother. And they have a story saying, for the first time ever in the St. Patrick's Day parade, gays are going to be allowed to march. And I hear from across the table, right? And I hear it. So I go, well, there's your cue, dummy. And I sit there and I just wait. Like, I go, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I go, 3 Mississippi. You know what those people do? They put that filthy thing in their mouth. Okay. And she's like, whoa. And then nothing. And I'm sitting there, and 5 minutes later, she starts gagging. She's gagging. She's going, and I'm like,
she's still thinking about it. Yeah, and you've already moved on.
I think she's choking on something at this point, right? And all of a sudden, I go, what? I go, are you okay? What's going on? She's like, they put that filthy thing in the mouth, and I fucking lose it. And I remember my mother comes running in. What's going on? I can't even speak. I have tears coming down my face, because what changes in your life that this person is now allowed to march in the parade? What does it mean? You know what it means? They want to be recognized for who they are, right? And who they are. They want to have the same equal rights as you. And I thought Aggie Dune in the conversation was amazing. There were a couple things that stood out to me. One was, okay, take the pride flag off the government building in Webster or whatever town decided to do that. And
it was Webster. Yeah.
And then when and the reason was anything that is outside of the town or the state flags, we're not flying. Understood. So now they have, and this is the humor, right? Because, okay, here we go, right? And here it comes. They have a park that they're basically christening for disabled children, right? Better access, wider stuff, all these things. And they have a disabled flag, and they're told they can't fly it. And Aggie's like, rules are rules. If you don't, you know what I mean? If you don't want one. And I can understand that. And her point was equal. We just want equal. That's all we want. We just want to be seen as equal. Here's another thing she said. The Pride Parade if you're going to be part of it, please put your best foot forward. Please come and be your best self on display.
In other words, don't put on a show or a spectacle. Is that what?
In other words, those ass chaps.
Oh, okay, that's what I mean.
Great for the after party. Probably shouldn't be in the parade because that's the stuff. And I thought, holy shit. I'm like, here's somebody in the community telling the community exactly how to.
This is why nobody wants to take you seriously.
Right. Well,
it's like
in a way, but I don't know.
It's like I remember when Washington, the state of Washington, was the first state to legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they're one of them. Colorado. It had to be out west,
yeah,
right?
It was,
but before that, a lot of there was a radio conversation on this show called The Men's Room. I remember this because it was BJ Shea's old station, and I just happened to tune into it. It was before they were on CMF, and they were talking about how they were telling the pot smoking community, if there is one, hey, listen, guys, instead of walking around like the dude from The Big Lebowski and celebrating being stoners and eating munchies, why don't you dress up like professionals and go to the state capitol and represent yourself like business people instead of a bunch of losers? Because that's the perception.
Right.
Whether you agree with it or not, the point is that if you want to be taken seriously, look like you're serious.
Because you're serious about something that has had very beneficial to many people who didn't have a medicinal license, but maybe can sleep better now because they can get that. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where, for me, I just see the humor in all of it, and I needed health insurance. So I was a one-to-one aide with a kid that for the first time in his academic career actually made it all the way through the year. He used to have his parents come pick him up. Because people get so rigid. They're so rigid. And it makes sense, right? You got to follow the rules. You got to walk in line. We got to go here. We got to do this. You're not allowed. And my thing was like, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. The kid turned a hose on me, full fucking blast.
Whatever you want to do.
Full blast. And I wound up having to duck into like a vestibule. And anytime I opened the door to try to go, hey, let's put it in, he's just firing away. Like, right? It was like a steady stream. Like it was like you're at Seabreeze and shooting in the clown's mouth to make the car go up. And I go, okay. So I did have to call for them, but I didn't care. Because I sat there and I went, you know what? I wish because at first I'm getting like annoyed. And then at one point I go, for what? For what? You know what I wish I did? I wish I was Tommy Boy at the gas station after cow tipping and falling in the mud and getting hosed off and screaming, I'm a maniac, maniac on the floor. Like, why didn't I just do that? But why does it have to be this big fucking thing? Does it change my life? In the moment, I'm wet and a little uncomfortable, but I also have a funny story to tell people that know I do this. And who gives a shit? And I don't know what that is. And I wish everybody else could adopt a little of that. It's not easy. I'm sure. I know that somebody listens and go, yeah, fuck you. Remember the time this happened? Remember the time that happened? And you did this and you did that. You're right. Yeah. Maybe I'm in a different spot now. Maybe I have found myself, but I just can say that nothing that serious is going on here. And there's great humor if you look around. There just is. Seeing people like somebody who is always angry about something. I have a friend. I think this person has sued more people and is always in a lawsuit and always this. And there's a part of me that used to be like, I would cringe at these stories. And now I go, maybe that's what makes them feel good. Maybe they feel like they were just shit upon in life and they're going to fight back through every legal channel ever. But God bless their wife.
David Horowitz.
But God bless their wife for having to listen to this fucking bullshit all night. Like, what happened? Tell you about the time.
You see what happened today?
Yeah.
You see what happened with the Supreme Court?
Right.
You see what happened?
So my whole, I don't know. I find great humor in it. I'll tell you another one that I find.
I have one too. Just
find great humor in this. I know that there are people, and they're not necessarily wrong. And I don't. You can call if you want to. It's 206-8866 or something like that. I think it's, or you can email bill@billmoranproductions.com if you have a nasty comment. But there are people who get very upset that President Trump has a history of poor behavior and poor language towards women and about women and different things. And I can understand that, and I get it, and I can understand where people will say, how could you, support a woman and support it? Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But you lost. Okay? And he is the president. And I'm not saying that you need to shut your mouth. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it is the way it is. There's nothing you can really do to change that today. And to see people just fucking yelling into the abyss about it, sometimes I find entertaining, because I go, what's really happening in your life that you're so angry about it? Because I know that people will tell me I'm wrong, but I don't feel like what the president of the United States, no matter who it is, does impacts my life directly. I'm not saying it won't, and please understand, and I don't mean to, but I do think the local stuff probably affects the roads you're driving on, and whether or not you hit a pothole today because they.
By the way, somebody in Parenton's effing up.
Yeah. Okay. What happened?
Oh, there's just.
Yeah, sure. So.
I thought it was construction season.
I got it. But you understand? So, and then I find when he opens his mouth, some of the stuff that comes out, I just laugh at. And because it's like, you've never heard anybody in that office say this shit. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of entertaining. And he's not always going to be president. I don't care what he says. He's not going to be.
What he said today? He goes, he puts out a Truth Social, then he retweets it on Twitter or X. He goes, "Congratulations to President Xi in China for getting birthright citizenship legalized in the United States. Bravo!" Like, in other words, like the Chinese can have anchor babies in Guam who can then become United States citizens and then run for president. That's what the whole 14th Amendment thing was all about. Yeah. And the Supreme Court ruled 6-3.
Well, right now we have,
but Trump had to bravo.
Yeah.
he just doesn't care.
He doesn't care. And that's why I say he is the most effective at using the presidency as a bully pulpit than anybody has ever. And
Piggy.
You're never going to convince me.
Have another donut.
And I'm not saying that he's like, I get it. I get all the stuff you're saying, but can't you just step back and go, this is like, what a time to be alive? Because on the other hand, we're hosting the World Cup. And I know there are people who go, I don't watch, I don't like it, I don't understand the game.
It's been fun.
A boring game.
And I'm not a soccer
guy. Right. And the game is, I will tell you this, if you watch the game, at least from what I've seen and understand, it's a game of triangles. Right?
Yes.
I get the ball, I pass it to Danny, who's up here, and then I run up here and I completed the triangle and then I can go. You know what I mean? It's a game of triangles.
It's like the Chicago Bulls offense, but on grass.
It's just, to me, it's the game of triangles. That's all I see when I see it. Maybe I am. Somebody said to me, I think you're neurodivergent. I go, okay.
Oh, good for you.
I don't know.
Is there a pill for that? Can I get that?
I don't think so. And then I go, so then I keep bringing it up to the person and they're like, well, you have ADHD. That's neurodivergence. And I go, yeah, it depends on who you talk to. Some people will tell you it's a trauma response.
Yeah, I got like 6 or 7 acronyms, bro.
Whatever. I could give a shit. Truthfully, I just found it. But their point, the thing is, like, all the people that are coming here going, what an amazing country.
Yeah.
What an amazing country.
Like Bill Maher. Did you see his new rules? It was all about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Wease was bringing that up, and that's why I'm bringing it up.
It's like the Japanese kid who's trying, who's trying barbecue.
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing I've ever had.
Right. And so we go, but we take it for granted. We're pissed off. We're angry. We're angry every day. And that's why I go, take the minute and have a little gratitude for what you have. Enjoy something, even if it's a soft mattress, a soft pillow, 5 minutes alone today. Whatever it is. You want to know something? I put every day, it'll say, in this book, it'll say, what are 3 things that you want to happen today? What are 3 things happen? Right. And I'll put down 2 that are semi-serious. And the last one for me, or at least one of them always is, I hope I get some unexpected, genuine, honest laughter and fun. Every day that I have written that down over the past week, I was out with somebody at a restaurant and I knocked over a beer, spilled my Guinness. And I was like, uh-oh, right? And this is outside on the patio, crowded. Every table is filled. And I notice a table toward the back, like diagonally across from me. The woman sitting across watched the entire thing happen. And I don't know where it came from, but it turned into an HBO special because her husband like grabs a bunch of napkins and puts it up there. And I go, oh, thanks so much. I go, what a waste. Thinking like, God, I feel like I should get a straw and start sucking on. And they're starting to laugh. And I'm like, I said, is that your wife? And he said, yeah. I go, she saw the whole thing happen. She actually could see it beforehand. I go, thanks for the insight or something. And then I go, how long have you guys been married? And they go, 25 years. I go, I should have guessed that. I go, you didn't even hesitate, dude. You didn't even ask a question. You just got napkins and handed them. I go, that's a trained guy. And then I just went off from there to the point now there's like 2 or 3 other tables. And I was having a blast. The person I'm with is like, you need to warn people that can happen. But my point is like, yeah, I love the unexpected laugh. It doesn't have to be me as the center of attention for that. I certainly wasn't. But I love unexpected, real, genuine laughter when funny shit happens. Why are we wasting our time spinning our wheels, yelling at shit? You can control what you can control. And after that, just enjoy it. It's a show. Mm-hmm. It's a show. People are going to be offended. I'm not saying laugh at them and be mean to them because they're so offended and blah, blah, blah. But there's a little bit of self-righteousness there. And you kind of go, what are they like when they're home and what's really going on? Mm-hmm. You know, and I can see that. Or I go, you know, or the person that's very rigid and I can see they're trying to follow the rules. They're trying to be the best that they have been told to be. And I'm going, be the best your inner self tells you to be.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the greatest lessons I ever learned from working with you and Tommy is don't take yourself too seriously.
You can't. And like, look.
And then I realized, oh my gosh, they're right.
Yeah. Because
you can make fun of yourself. You can make fun of anything.
You're not getting out alive.
No.
So fuck it. And the other side of this is I always say you only die once. So do you want the rest of this trip to be this miserable, I got to get this and I got to do this? Or do you want it to just be, there's funny shit and everything. You'll find funny shit. You'll find funny shit doing your dishes if you look. You just will. Mm-hmm. There'll be funny or a memory will pop in. And I can't tell you how many times people will always like the bad part with me is I wear it on my face. Right. So then I get the look and I go, what's going on? What is it? What's so funny? And I'll be like, I can't tell you. I can't like, I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you one that I even told people this and nobody made a sound. There happened to be an instructor at an institution who is from Asia and has a very thick Asian accent. Okay. Follow me? Mm-hmm. And there happens to be a student who has a disability where part of their like they probably a stroke when they were born or something. So the left side and the arm is kind of close and they operate well. Never hear this person say anything. They go through very friendly every day, positive, right? So now we're in this instructor's class and it happens to be a creative class and they're making things. And the person has a name, right? But because of the accent, okay, mm-hmm. the person is now called colon. Okay, so that's funny to me.
Okay,
right, but okay, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
and it's being yelled because the person's not responding. The person comes over, right, as they can, right, yeah. as well as they can.
Yes.
And they really only have one working hand. They say, my name is blank. And the person says, yes. And then as the person's going back, remember,
right.
They have one working hand. And the instructor is yelling, 2 hands, colon, 2 hands. And
go on.
And I'm the only one. I go, sometimes being in this head is torture. You don't get it. But I have laughed about that privately in my car at times going, that, like, I just see it all. And I swear to you, it's like a gift from the universe. I'll tell you what. I don't know if people believe in signs when somebody dies. We'll end on this one, and maybe you have something you want to add.
I do have a story.
Okay. Well, do yours, and I'll close with mine.
So you explain about your grandmother.
Yes.
Oh, that dirty thing.
Yes.
Okay. So, you and I, again, 80s, 90s kids, AIDS was a big thing.
Yeah.
And it was originally called grids. it was considered a gay disease.
Right.
And then they expanded it to like drug users and
what was GRIDS? What was it an acronym?
It was gay related immunodeficiency disease. It was because like the trend was with the New York hospitals was like all the same trend.
Yes.
It was gay men having this problem. So and they've traced it all back, and well, anyway, in fact, Family Guy even made an age joke once, and I start laughing.
Yeah.
Like not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe that they actually went there and they cloaked the joke so well,
right,
that it was like they're making an age joke about Gaetan Dugas, who was the flight attendant who infected like thousands of gay men with AIDS. He was patient 0. Okay. And they made the joke, and I'm cracking up because I can't believe they did that. They go, and the 3 guys I'm watching it with are like, what are you talking about? I go, they just made an AIDS joke. They go, what do you mean? So I had to explain the AIDS joke to them. They're like,
well, you have to explain the joke. It's not funny.
Right. But the thing is, like, I wasn't making the joke.
No,
Family Guy was making the joke.
No,
right.
I understand.
So they were like, so you're laughing about that? I'm like, well, no, I can't believe they did it. See, I'm not laughing at the joke.
Well, some of it's the shock value of it.
They actually went there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my grandmother had a gay hairdresser, and she also cleaned houses for a gay couple.
Okay.
But she knew there was something going on, but she didn't quite get the whole picture.
Yeah.
So these 2 gentlemen, once word got out that my grandmother was cleaning a doctor's house, and she was cleaning everybody's house in the neighborhood, and they all took care of her. But there's these 2 guys named Bill and Bill who lived together. They ran the local local drugstore, and they were well known. But there was a kind of an open secret that they were gay, but nobody talked about it. Well, then she starts cleaning the hairdresser salon. This guy named Tony, and all of a sudden, like Magic Johnson becomes HIV positive. So now all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, he's not even gay. He's not even gay. My grandma's like, what does that mean, Danny? She's asking me, what does that even mean, gay? Like they say that Bill Odico and Bill, they're dead now, and Bill Barnett are both gay, and I clean houses for them. I didn't notice anything unusual. And then Tony, they say my hairdresser's gay. What does that even mean? I go, Grandma, I don't know.
They like each other.
Yeah, they're friendly.
No, well, you didn't say.
I didn't say. So my father hears the conversation because we're both half deaf.
Yeah.
He comes downstairs. I'll tell you what it means. And he wasn't trying to be a jerk, but he wanted
where I'm like, I'm pulling up a chair for a fireside chat.
So my father coming down the stairs, you can hear him ducks his head out because we had a very low basement ceiling because it was an apartment, and Grandma she goes, Butch, what does that mean? All right. You know how like 2 people have sex? She goes, yeah. I had 6 boys. I know how it works. She goes, well, okay. Now imagine 2 men. Oh my God.
Yes.
She goes, oh my God. What do you mean? How do they do that? Yeah. And he's trying to explain to her how it works. Well, she goes, well, how do they get, so what's this AIDS? How do they get AIDS? So he's explaining to her the mechanics. So I'm sitting there like learning from my father because I didn't know how it worked either. I was in 5th grade. Or 6th grade. I didn't know. So all of a sudden she goes, oh my gosh. Yeah. That's filthy. That's filthy. He goes back upstairs. That's filthy, Danny boy.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, you know what? They treat me good. I don't care what they do.
Well, good.
I don't care what they do. They treat me
human
good.
beings first, and that's the end.
10 minutes later. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, you know what? What?
Because in her head,
right,
all her life, it wasn't okay.
Right, but she didn't know. But she didn't even know what it was until it was explained to her.
Yeah,
she's like, "Well, they treat me well. They pay me well. What's the problem?"
You got to remind me where I was going to go because I got distracted in my head listening to this, and I was thinking about how a lot of people would probably go, "Well, I remember growing up with him, and he threw out the F for gay, pejorative, and did these other things and stuff." And I have told the story, and I told the story when Aggie was on in the episode, and I've said it many times. I may have even said it on the radio, I think, at some point. But I was dating somebody in college, and her roommate's boyfriend and I went out. We come stumbling back up Harvard Street or wherever it was, and under the bottom apartment in this beautiful home was 2 gay gentlemen. And I am outside screaming, and I'm calling them the Spanish word for gay, and we're laughing, and hey, what do you think to do in there, and all this shit. And then I see one of them cradling and carrying one and sitting him in the front seat of the car, and putting the seatbelt on. And it has forever changed my perspective, because I went, and I kind of adopted it, I guess, even as my dad, and later on, he hadn't said it at that point, but if love is the highest thing, if love is the greatest thing, then what's bad about it? No matter who you're loving. And I saw that, and I always felt bad. And I think I even went and I apologized to the person when I saw them once when I was in radio at an appearance or something. It has haunted me. I don't know if haunt's the right word, but it has bothered me.
Goes back and bothers you
that
when you
I
think
did
about
that.
it.
Yeah, that I did that. Always. I'm trying to remember the other funny story I was going to tell. Yeah,
I'll give you another one. You like uncomfortable laughter. Instagram. I'm not on Facebook, but I am on Instagram because you learn. There's a lot of like stuff you can learn from it. So this one, I walked into this post, right? I'm like laughing uncontrollably, and I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
So this post goes, my husband's an engineer, and it shows like this thing on the wall that turns into steps. So in other words, it saves you a bunch of space. He designed these wall steps, so it just looks like a paneling on the wall, but then you pull it off and it's actually steps to the upstairs.
Okay.
So you just, anytime you want to go upstairs, you pull the stairs down and you walk up the steps. It's tremendous. The very next scene, you know where I'm going with this.
Somebody's falling.
They show somebody in one of those like wheelchairs, those electronic wheelchairs where they can't walk, and there's no stairs, and they go, and like guy falls face first down to the second floor or the next floor, and I'm laughing like because I didn't expect it, not because I know it's got to be AI generated.
You got to have some maturity about your
but now I'm feeling bad. Do I like this post? Do I not? Do I share this post? No, Dan, don't do it. Don't do it. But I'm still like feeling bad because I'm laughing, but I didn't expect the swerve.
Right.
I thought they were going to show more of those like unique engineering housing type of innovations. No, they showed a poor handicapped guy in an automatic wheelchair, like driving himself off a cliff of a house, basically, to the downstairs because there's no stairs for him.
Right. Well,
or a ramp.
Here's the point.
And I felt terrible.
Of course, but the point of all, there is comedy everywhere.
Right.
Don't take it all so seriously and enjoy it.
Somebody thought enough to post that.
Right. But also at the same time, appreciate the person who's very rigid and follows the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Find some humor in it. Right. See some things that make you laugh. Understand that they're probably not going to make other people laugh. But I hang out with assholes, and my asshole friends would actually laugh at that. But I can't help it at times. I just can't help it. I see this stuff, and it's like you walk around in this head. I see it. I watch it. Sometimes I can almost see it start unfolding, and I go, oh, my God. Or I know exactly what to say that's going to just start the avalanche of entertainment. I could do it with my grandmother. I could do it with all kinds of people. I don't know. It just is. Don't take it all so seriously.
Yeah, don't take it serious.
And by the way, ladies,
life gets better.
Keep posting your glow ups, your divorce glow ups. Good for you. I get very entertained by this. I mean, it's there, right? I love when I see the expensive ripped jeans and a little bit of midriff that you're trying to hide, but you're really not trying to hide, but you know it's there, but you want people to know, and you've really worked out, and you've done all this stuff, and you're hoping somebody sees it. Maybe they'll like it, but it's all entertaining because we're all looking for a little validation, and the only place it should come from is inside you.
When you and I worked together, we had a company that would send out, you subscribe, and they'd send you bits.
Yeah.
And one of the bits was Time Life. Remember those Time Life records?
Yeah.
CDs, compact discs?
Yeah.
And it was Time Life, songs for a divorce, right?
Yeah.
And they show the husband and the wife splitting up and how she's doing her hair now. I got a new attitude, and then he's like lifting weights to like Rocky, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happens when this is the parents getting divorced soundtrack. And they show like the clips of, your husband and your wife, the husband and the wife splitting up, but getting better and getting revenge on each other.
All right.
And I just, that's what came to mind with this glow up thing.
Yeah. And I say go for it, but remember, a lot of it comes from you too. That's it. For Dan Barillo, I'm Bill Moran. We'll see you next time.
Midsection shimmering in that soft porch light. We see you. Too cool